obviously, but there's always 80, 90-year-olds whenever I go to college or school or anything along that line. They're always the first ones to ask question or very eager to go and learn. So
Sure. And these guys already have a ton of responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, one of the guys, he was studying, and I hope he did extremely well. Shout out to Raj. I hope he had his exam went really well. But he had to leave his studies, you know, the day before Big Test just to come and do that show. Yeah. So he got there maybe 20 minutes before it was time for him to get on stage. But he got there, and another guy took off work. He used his lunch break at his job at this restaurant just to come and support his friend on stage.
Awesome.
And then changed right back into his uniform and went right back to what he had to do. And that just, I mean, it speaks volumes about the type of community that exists here.
Yeah, you know? That's amazing. And thank you so much for being a part of it. And thank you so much for coming down.
Honor and a pleasure.
That's awesome. Could you, Shanna, could you go ahead and tell us a little bit about how the experience was in Biratnagar, and when it comes to visual arts as well, when it comes to performance as well, like how eager were the kids, and how is it in general whenever you travel around the world? Like, what's the feedback?
That's a bunch of questions in one. You're going to have to remind me of the 2, 3, and 4.
I will.
The eagerness of the performant to perform it sat really well with me.
Yeah.
It felt good because when giving direction, sometimes you never know where it's going to sit, and you never know how it's going to thrive on stage once it comes to presenting time, or how things are going to fall together when you have almost like zero rehearsal.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we had like almost no rehearsal, there was a few that came after the class, the one class that we had. There was a few that came that same day in the evening to the mall to rehearse. And we weren't even able to go over that much.
Yeah.
And so then the next day in the morning, there wasn't many that were able to come. And so it was only the showtime. And like sporadically, we were like, okay, let's run over something here. Let's run over something here. And how it came about, it just fell into place. It was amazing. And the same thing with me. One of the girls had come from college just to come, and she was in her uniform and was, trying to go over things, and then she had to leave at a certain time. She didn't even make it into the group photo at the end. I don't know, what was your other question?
No, how is it around the world as well?
Around the world? I couldn't tell you about it everywhere around the world, but the different places that I've been to, in comparison to maybe the U.S., in my community, I have to be careful of my word choice. Hip hop and street styles, coming from the streets, it has depending on where I go, like the drive can be stronger, where the struggle is higher. So the drive and the intensity and the quality of interest and being present and just the aptitude of movement that comes out. And what we can create together, what I'm shown, and how I can, offer my humble information, it's just different levels, but globally, if we're talking about coming out of the U.S., globally, it's received much more with love and intensity. But I mean, it comes from the U.S. I mean, a lot of times, wherever something comes from, it's a bit more like, just like I guess like at home. Like, I'm not gonna go to all the museums, but you come to visit. You're gonna come to the museums. I mean, yeah.
Could I add something real quick?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, I think one thing that, just to piggyback on what she's saying, I feel like one thing that I see to be true, even in the U.S., is that the more people realize that this can potentially change my life, you know, in all the best ways possible.
तपाईले हाम्रो क्लिप एकदमै एन्जोय गर्नुभयो होला अब पुरै भिडियो हेर्नको लागि चाहिँ युट्युबमा सब्स्क्राइब गर्न नबिर्सिनु होला